It's Tuesday, March 1st, and this is Noon with news that you can use from YAA. That appears to be Johnny Depp in a sinking ship behind us. Down goes Portia! Down goes Portia!
So, learned this morning that that ship sunk.
Yeah.
We'll kick today's show off with that, but we're going to talk about why right now might be the best time to buy a used car and honestly a new car for the foreseeable future. But here you go.
Yeah.
Burnt out ship carrying 4,000 VW Group vehicles sinks in rough seas.
There you have it. I mean, Pirates of the Caribbean, although the ship sank off the Azores, but they're hoping that it, the waves bring it to the Caribbean. Yeah.
So they were about to start some loss assessments, see if there are any vehicles they could. No.
Yeah, see what they might be able to salvage and still sell to some poor unsuspecting schnook here.
Nope,
it
is long gone.
Yeah. So they'll send the insurance adjusters down to the sea floor, the ocean floor, and see what they can find out about those cars, and see if the plastic they put on the roofs to protect the paint protected everything.
Yeah, we'll have to see. All right, so let's kick today's show off with, we talked about it last night on the YAA channel when we did the stream, why right now actually might be a decent time to be in the used new car market if you need to buy a vehicle. We're waiting on the latest data from Black Book. That'll be very telling later on today when we do get it.
Yes.
The big picture here, though, is this. What's happening in the Ukraine, what's happening in the greater world, as I was calling it last night, what's happening internationally is not setting the stage for production to be strong for new vehicles. Toyota was on the homepage just a second ago. They just turned production back on domestically in Japan. We also have issues from what's going on in the Ukraine. Right now might be the time to actually be able to negotiate because there's some leverage you have as a consumer because there have been people who have stopped buying cars.
And my suspicion is that if things continue down this path for any length of time at all, that there'll be fewer and fewer people in the marketplace, because there'll be fewer and fewer people who feel comfortable enough to spend money at this point in time.
Yeah.
Because we just really don't know what the future holds. I think I might sneeze, so I'm going to say that. I'm exploding on the inside, ladies and gentlemen. Damn it.
Put them on, Pops.
Oh, my God. Why is that? That every time I think I'm going to sneeze, if I blow up, ladies and gentlemen, it's only because I had an internal sneeze and not an external one. Oh, my God. Yes, exactly. Again. Yeah.
So you're right. There's a lot of instability, and because of that instability, it's uncertainty. Because of that uncertainty, we're seeing right now. We know something for certain right now, which is if you need to buy a used car, you can go negotiate down from that ridiculously high price.
Yes.
If you need to buy a new car right now, you can get under MSRP
in some cases.
Depending on the brand that you're choosing.
Yes.
It could be a Dodge, a Ram, a Ford. Take advantage of that right now because what we're looking at, crystal ball is notoriously fuzzy, but what we're looking at is there's no good news around the corner.
When you're always buying your crystal balls at the dollar store, there's a reason they were only $1, and the crystal's typically not crystal, and it's usually partly cloudy at best.
Yeah.
But you just have to think with all that's going on in the world, and where there could eventually be shortages of fuel and things of that nature, that people will have second thoughts about the need to purchase vehicles. So that perhaps if demand falls off dramatically or this situation is prolonged, perhaps at that point, maybe we'll see prices coming down. But until that time, I would think, here in the United States, we're going to pretend that everything's normal. And here comes the spring selling season, and dealers are just going to think everything is rosy and copacetic.
So we've actually quantified a huge shout out and thank you to Justin. He published this just about 20 minutes ago.
Yes.
He did the research this morning. There was an article in Automotive News that talked about the potential ramifications for what's happening in Ukraine. And Justin went a step further and he did even more back research and here are all the supply chain issues that are going on right now. Also touched on the cyber attack that happened to Toyota, but here are all the automakers North American automakers. It didn't even go into the European automakers that are affected by this. These are just the North American automakers that are affected by what's happening. Now, some of the implications and some of the challenges tie back to what we spoke about yesterday, which was the neon. Neon is one of the primary components used in semiconductor manufacturing.
Yes, they need it for the lasers to, I guess, imprint whatever it is that they imprint on the wafers.
Exactly. Wow,
Yeah.
you sound like knowledgeable about this stuff.
Almost.
So that's a major issue that everyone's facing. Ford, for example, Justin talks about it here in the article. Their Ford Transit vans are produced actually in that region, and now they're taken off of production. Commercial vehicles for GM are produced in that area for Western Europe. They're taken out of production. Hyundai's taking vehicles off of production. Volvo was the first manufacturer to say, hey, we're going to stop sending vehicles to Russia, and others have followed suit as well. So the ramifications of what's happening are all documented here back on the YAA website, but they're real and they're meaningful.
Yes, absolutely.
Now, we do have that good news. Let me hop back over to automotive news. We have it right about, it was on here a second ago. It was about Toyota and the fact that they've actually overcome and brought production back in Japan. So that's good news. We do actually have this here, though, Pops, which I know we didn't queue up, but I want to talk about just briefly.
Talk about just pulling up information from Automotive News to share with you that we haven't even had the opportunity to look at yet. But this is analysts are forecasting a seasonally adjusted retail rate for new cars of 14.1 to 14.4 million, which is down considerably from January, because the prediction in January had been anywhere from like 15.1 to 15.5
million new vehicles sold in the United States.
Yes.
Hyundai, Kia, Genesis, Mazda all gained. Toyota fell 10-11%. Plus, I already have the issues coming into this month. Yeah, let's look at the numbers here.
We have a lot to look at this point.
Yeah, it's all coming in brand new. All right, so February of this year versus February of last year. Yeah, Hyundai's up. Mazda's up. Lexus and Toyota are hammered.
Yeah.
They really are.
Yes.
So if you're in the market to buy a Toyota, man, that's going to be tricky right now. That also ties in with, we filmed a video on this earlier, but we can pull it up here.
Although, with their sales down, maybe dealers might feel compelled, or maybe the manufacturer might feel compelled to throw some incentives on what inventory there is to try and get people interested in going back in and buying a Toyota.
Yeah, no, I mean that's true. That's true. I did want to pull up though. We were looking at this data earlier for a video we filmed. Perks of joining us here on this channel is you get to see it live as well. Four Eyes puts out has these pages that update in real time. U.S. auto inventory over time. So here's like all inventory levels.
Yes,
great. What they do is they actually break it down by inventory levels by brand and even by model.
Wow.
And this is pretty interesting because I didn't see any Toyotas on here, I don't think. No. Like Toyota, and what they're doing is they're comparing April of 2020 to now.
Yes.
And so we talk about like Toyota sales being off 11%. Maybe that's not a good. Actually, in terms of inventory levels, they're actually not in the top 10 of least inventory.
Their inventory levels are still well below where they'd like them to be.
Yeah, but if you're
trying at 90% below.
Yeah, if you're trying to buy a Chevy Trax, for example, inventory of Chevy Trax are down 96%.
This would be reason to stop you right in your tracks.
Yeah, really would. So if you see a vehicle that's not on this list and you need to buy it, now might be that time.
Yes, perhaps.
All right, let me come back over here for just a second, Pops. I think we had yes, we've got this story that I definitely wanted to make sure we touched on. Although I do want to I'm going to refresh really quick. Our dear friends at Black Book.
Yes.
They typically update their market insights.
Yes.
About 11:30 a.m. Eastern time.
Yes, we need to have a conversation with the president of
because last week, if we look at Black Book's numbers for last week, car prices, used car prices, and used truck prices were down considerably. We're anxiously waiting
to see what has transpired in this past week, and we do need to make Jared aware of the fact that we go live at noon on Tuesday, Eastern, and that we need that information, even if it comes in. In the first few minutes of the show, if we could just send us a special email with advance knowledge so that we can share it
Would
with
be
our
helpful.
audience.
Would be
Yes.
helpful.
Yes, I don't mean to chastise Jarrett in any way, shape, or form. But
Interesting.
damn it, Jarrett, we need that information.
Interesting comment here from Igor. Every dealer I'm talking to all say that people had forgotten how to negotiate, and here no one moves to agree prices offered by, no one's negotiating. Yeah, now is we said it before yesterday. We were saying again today. You've got like this, but before the spring selling season, we think you got like a 2-3 week
maybe
period
a 2-week window
to negotiate.
Yeah.
You really, really do.
Let's hope.
All right, so let's jump over here to this Jeep Grand Cherokee news. Did you read this article by chance, Pops?
Something about you're not allowed to be selling them if you're the Jeep dealer.
So there's actually, unfortunately, a stop sale right now on the Jeep Grand Cherokee.
Something about keys.
An unspecified number of Grand Cherokees are equipped with hardware that totally bricks them.
Wow.
That's never a good thing.
No, you never want to hear hardware and brick in the same sentence.
Yeah, so you're right. It's all about the keys. So earlier this week, we covered the serious troubles that some Grand Cherokee L owners were, which we drove a Grand Cherokee.
You're too young to know this, because you were born in '95.
I was born in '95.
And there was a famous basketball player, Michael Jordan.
I know who Michael Jordan is.
I thought maybe you've heard of him. And there was a brand of shoes, basketball shoes, Nike. And maybe you've heard of them.
Look at my glass. Look at this.
And look at that. And they had a spokesperson.
Okay.
Mars Blackman, really Spike Lee, who did commercials with Michael Jordan.
Interesting.
And the tagline for the commercials was, "It's got to be the shoes." Okay.
Yeah.
That's what made Jordan great. It's got to be the shoes.
Yeah.
Well, in this case, we need Mars Blackman to be going, "It's got to be the keys."
So what happened here?
Yes.
To make everyone aware of this. Oh, man. Yeah, there's our background. All right. In short, the car's key fob loses connection with the SUV, and any attempt to unlock it with the physical key are mistaken by the vehicle as an attempted theft.
There you
It's
have
then
it.
rendered effectively inoperable.
So apparently this key was designed by either Hertz or Carvana, who specialize in allowing people to buy cars that are previously reported as stolen.
You can't even get it to the repair shop. You can't even get it to the dealership.
Yeah.
Yeah, the experiences of affected owners all sound similar. Their Grand Cherokees are totally non-functional or were temporarily fixed before breaking down again. One reader who emailed us claims he bought a 2022 Grand Cherokee Overland in early February, and he couldn't drive the truck off the dealer lot because of the issue.
Wow.
After disconnecting the battery, the issue temporarily resolved itself, but it reappeared a few days later. My car wouldn't start in the parking garage under my office building in downtown Chicago. The reader told us that was a long night.
I would think so if you had to sleep in that parking garage.
Perfect example of an experience where you shouldn't take delivery of the vehicle. At least that's my 2 cents.
Well, yes. It's never a good sign after you've signed for the vehicle, you've completed all the paperwork, and you go to start it and it won't. And the dealer says, "Oh, must just have a dead battery. Let us replace that for you."
It's kind of similar. We talked about a story. Actually, I don't know. Did we talk about that story? The one that Phil, the gentleman who had their rate bumped on him, and then it was like the attached packages. I don't know if we talked about that.
Well, no, we never shared that on a broadcast.
We should share that story. I know from reading the message that the gentleman who experienced it said that we could share it. Let me pull it up really quickly, and we can kind of, because this is eerily similar to your comment that you made after reading about this gentleman's story. It's like, I wouldn't have left it. I would have done something else here. So let me pull that up really quickly.
Yes.
Can you vamp?
I can always
Vamping.
Vamping is the thing that I do, especially when we do this show.
So all right, got it.
Here we go. We found it, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, so there was someone in the YAA community who was working with Phil on our team,
and a first-time buyer,
first-time car buyer, good credit score though.
Yeah, great credit score. Yeah.
So what happened here?
Yes.
Is this gentleman went and negotiated his car deal, and he got to the F&I office, and he got hit with the only way that we can give you a better finance rate, better interest rate, is if we add on $3,375 in products.
Yes, only because the bank wants us to.
So we were at what were we at? We were at a 9% interest rate.
Yeah, and the guy has a credit score of like 750.
735, I think.
Well, there I was close.
And so they said they can buy him down if he adds these products.
Yes.
He ends up taking the deal.
Yeah.
Not a good deal to take, but it was okay. He had actually a pre-approval of 3.87 from Capital One, so that helped as well.
Yes.
Long story short, This gentleman goes back to the dealership because they've got like a 3-day, you don't love it, come back, return it policy.
Yes.
And he's going to unwind the deal.
Yes.
And he goes and he talks to the general manager.
Well, first he talked to the finance manager again.
Yeah.
Whose hand he refused to shake when the finance manager offered his hand.
Yeah.
The finance manager assured him that they weren't really trying to take advantage of them. They were only looking out for their customers' best interest.
Yeah.
And literally the reason we could do it is we were buying down the interest rate from 9% to whatever they eventually got it down to.
Yeah. Which was 3.25%.
And legitimately,
let that sink in for a second. Went from 9 to 3.2. Igor, your comment about people not knowing to negotiate, that's a ton of money.
Yes. But what I was about to say is, yes, dealerships can buy down interest rates. They can. But they don't buy them down so that you can buy product, because it costs them to buy it down.
Yeah.
Okay. So yes, there's truth when the finance manager says, well, we can buy down the rates. That's how we do that. That could be possible. There wasn't truth being uttered in this particular case when you try and force product on a consumer to get a lower rate. That is, I believe, illegal.
Now, here's where I'm going to tie it back to that Jeep story. Because, that Jeep story was that person literally bought it and couldn't drive it off the dealership's lot until they futzed around with the battery, and then they could get it off the lot. And then he was stuck in his parking garage.
Yes. So,
and I'm sitting here saying, if that happens to you, don't take delivery.
Don't take delivery.
Now, hear this.
Yeah.
All right. So this is,
in most states, and I would assume probably in Illinois, the transaction is not considered completed until the customer drives their vehicle off of the dealer's lot.
Yep.
Okay. So if the Jeep owner would have said, sorry, let me know when you have it fixed and I'll come back and pick up the car then, he would have been better off than allowing them to replace the battery while he was there and then driving the vehicle off the lot, because that completed the transaction.
Now keep that in mind as well as I'm about to read this. This is verbatim. This was written to us from this gentleman. Quote, from there, he offered to keep the current financing price. We were financing $18,680. That's the purchase price of the vehicle plus the $3,375 of products. $2,750 was for a vehicle service contract and $625 was for maintenance. That was all used to, quote, buy down the interest rate. I thought about it for a moment. With hands shaking and trying to calm my nerves, I hate confrontation, I agreed to his offer. We signed a cancellation document. He said the $3,375 should show removed from the $18,680 principal by the first payment. So when I go to pay in 45 days, I should see the total amount of $15,305 as my principal. Assuming he keeps his word, I think I can sleep easy knowing I did my best, doing the best I could for my first car purchase, that I can always rely on you and YAA to have my back. Now, when you read this, because Phil shared it with the broader team and we really appreciate it. When you read this, you immediately thought to yourself, that's good, but it could be better.
Yeah, well,
it's okay. It could be better.
I didn't necessarily think to myself it's good.
Okay.
And the reason I didn't think it was good is because, we signed to cancel. We signed a document to cancel the stuff. Well, all that does is it reduces the payoff.
The principal on the loan,
It doesn't reduce it reduces the payoff. His payments will remain as if he had financed that $3,375.
Really?
Yes. It's when he gets to the last payment that he gets to save the money. That's where. So by the time he gets towards the end, that's where he sees it. He won't see it initially. The payment is still based on having financed all that stuff.
Gotcha.
What he should have done is he should have said, and the finance manager should have agreed to, just flat cancel everything. He signed up on Saturday. He went back on Monday. Nothing really happened. So they could have flat canceled
what happens
everything.
At the dealership on a Sunday?
Yeah, not much. So they should have flat canceled everything and then redone the deal completely based on the new finance amount with the new payment.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have to wait to see if in 45 days from now he gets that credit.
In that way, it's a parallel or equivalent to that person who took delivery of their Jeep that was
Yes.
not able
So
to drive.
unfortunately, Ricky should have said, no, let's flat cancel everything and redo all the paperwork reflecting today's new date, okay, of February 28th, and the new payment and the new financed amount. That's how it should have happened.
But let's give Ricky credit. Also, going back and
Yes,
standing up for yourself and getting
yes,
$3,300
yes.
back in your pocket. That's a
Well,
win.
it's not back in his pocket.
That's the issue.
It's
Yeah.
back in the bank's pocket.
Yeah.
Okay. He's still paying for
That's true.
it. Okay. The loan amount is based on that being as a part of it. His payments are based on that being a part of it.
No, I hear you loud and clear, and that's what
Yes.
makes it challenging. That being said, though,
Yes.
it's a perfect example of how you can, I don't want to say how I will say how confusing this process can be and why
Not
it's so.
can be how confusing
it
the
is.
process is, because as a consumer, you wouldn't know that. As a consumer, you are somewhat left to the devices of the finance people and the car people who
totally
do this on a daily basis. And so if you don't really know, you don't know what you don't know. And there isn't a reason for you necessarily to know it. So it's unfortunate that you're dealing almost in like a black hole.
And then the organization that's actually there that's supposed to help you is the CFPB.
Yes.
The consumer, what the hell does that stand for? Consumer Finance Protection Bureau.
Yeah.
Okay. And I actually saw this article. It popped up on my news feed. And it's Consumer Watchdog fires warning shot to lenders over abusive auto repos as used car prices soar. You surprised to hear this? There's a push to repo more vehicles to then go turn around and sell them on the wholesale market.
I wonder why.
So thank you, CFPB, for putting that bolo out, for making us aware of it. But there's other things like what we just described with Ricky that are super prevalent that you don't really get coaching for.
Yes. And so it's unfortunate. I mean, Phil tried his best to help Ricky,
and he did
he did a great job helping Ricky and trying to explain how he was being taken advantage of by the dealer. But as much as we advocate for consumers, and we do, I mean, just every day, it becomes more and more. I become more and more aware of the fact that there's just so much more work to do. The things that I know, or Kimberly, the F&I goddess, knows, or other members of our community know, that the vast majority of people don't know when it relates to the car business. And it's unfortunate when I see situations like that. But we can't, as much as we want to be everywhere, we can't be everywhere all the time. And as much as we want to help people, we can't always be available when they might need our help. But it's just sad to see that there's still dealers out there trying to take advantage of the buying public.
Absolutely, completely agree. Now, I got some good news.
Okay.
You want some good news done in today's show?
Sure.
Well, best news. My sister's coming by the office after this. We're all going to hang out for a little bit, so that's fun.
Okay.
This is our development environment. This is being launched on production today. Nationwide searching.
Oh, look at that.
So not only can you, previously, so like if you go to
500 miles.
you go to our actual website right now, it's 500 miles.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
come back in like 3 hours.
Okay.
You can do a 1,000-mile search, 2,000-mile search, or you can search nationwide.
Okay.
This is pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's a pretty big, pretty
so
big
if you're
deal.
looking for a really specialized vehicle,
or you just want to, you don't care where you got to fly to. There you go. Put in nationwide. Put in your Aston Martin.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
There's 180 Aston Martins for sale nationwide.
Okay. Yeah. But so if you're looking for a really specialized vehicle that might require a nationwide search, this would be a good place to go.
Be a great place to go.
Yeah. I
now,
like that.
The other good news.
Yes.
Again, this is on our development site. It's going to be launched later on today. You no longer got to get in touch with a human being on our end to get a quote for your vehicle service contract. So if you
that saddens me.
I know it saddens you, but it's like progress. We fulfilled 1,600 quote requests last month.
Yeah, that takes a lot of time.
That takes a lot of time, man.
Yeah.
And also people have to give us their email address so we can send them the quote.
Yeah.
Now you won't have to give us your information. You'll be able to just choose your year. It's a little slow right now.
Well, that's because it's in development.
It's the development server.
Yeah. But let's assume that you'd have to put in a make and a model.
It's
and
like,
the
there we
estimated-
go.
Yeah.
Accurate.
Okay. Yeah,
It'll be faster.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, model. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. But yeah, you know, I hope to appear on the next season of America's Top Model.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Still, there we go.
There we
And
go.
let's do the MDX.
What kind of model would I be? I would model the MDX.
And then when you request your quote, it's
Yeah.
actually just going to give it to you right here. That's so
No.
much more convenient than having to give us your
Stop it.
email address and then having to have
It
us get
doesn't
back in
ask
touch
what
with
type of MDX it is, you know, because there's multiple levels of.
Yeah, the way that they price it is
Mm.
class based, so
Yeah.
it doesn't. You know, you could do like
Yes, yeah. Well, you know, on America's Next Top Model,
holy
I would
cow,
be
this
at,
is
I would
slow,
be
gang.
I would be in a class by myself.
Dude, this is slow.
Well, that's why it's in the developmental phase.
Well, it's on the development server.
Yeah, which is really, you know, which is probably housed
Jeez
in the
Louise.
Ukraine or something.
Dad, that's too soon. There you go. You can see what the monthly price would be or paid in full. You can also
Wow.
even modify your deductible and things like that. Looks pretty good. If you want to
Yeah.
then save the quote, you can email it to yourself. Super proud of this. Every other provider, again, you buy them for us, we make $500. We're happy campers. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
Every other website out there,
Yes.
you have to either give them your email address or your phone number. As a challenge to each of you, use a burner phone number. Try and request a quote from Endurance or Car Shield or
Yeah.
Car Checks. I've done it. It's hell.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
worth it.
They become your new best friends.
They're hitting you up. Go to
Yeah,
the dealership. You're
yeah.
getting an overpriced one.
Yeah.
You don't even have to give us your info.
Yeah.
I'm very proud.
Hey, you want to meet me for a cup of coffee?
Yeah,
We can talk about your warrant.
You don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, that's what we got for today.
Okay.
I'm looking at the chat. Called to buy a new Santa Fe calligraphy last week. My local Hyundai dealer said they can't order anymore. They get what Hyundai gives them. Have you ever heard of this? Yep.
Sure. Yeah.
Can you explain that?
Well, they don't order. They work on an allocation basis.
Toyota does as well.
Yeah. Hyundai America will let Hyundai in Korea know what vehicles that they're really looking for, and they'll try and match up what a customer wants with what they can get them to build in the motherland.
Yeah, some manufacturers are able to do factory orders, others don't.
Yes.
All right, let's call it a show there. Let's go meet up with my sister, your daughter. We will be
Okay.
back tomorrow.
We will?
Yeah, hopefully. If we have the Black Book data, we'll pull that up.
Yes. Well, we'll have to put a nasty gram over to Jared and Jared. We need this information before noon on Tuesdays. It's just that it's not like there was a holiday this week.
No, there was no holiday.
No.
Well, today's Mardi Gras.
I don't know what today is. Today's Monday, March 1st.
Nope, it's Tuesday.
We're like 3 weeks from
It's
spring.
Tuesday.
Like I said, it's Tuesday, March 1st, and we're like 3 weeks from spring, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you all tomorrow at noon with news that you can use from YAA.
Thanks, Pops.
Thank you.